This is Keith Helwig from Cops Corrections Videos. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Today I'd like to talk about dash cam videos and body cams. It wasn't too long ago, I can remember in my career, probably 15 years ago, when they started putting dash cams in all the cars. At the time, there were a lot of officers upset about it. They thought, well, it's just Big Brother looking at us. Supervisors are going to look at us. They're going to criticize us, all this kind of stuff. Well, I work in a rural agency. I work there now, and I did work there then. Who got a dashboard camera? It activated every time you turned on your overhead lights. You had to wear a transmitter so they could hear what you were saying to other cars. Well, I can recall on a couple occasions where that dash camera literally saved my butt. By saving my butt, I don't mean it caused me from being harmed, from being killed, things of that nature. But there were a couple occasions where people made false allegations against me. One in particular I recall, it was a woman who was driving 74 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. And when I pulled her over, the first thing she said was, "Oh, just what I need, another effing speeding ticket." Well, I remembered it because she was driving a Ford Crown Victoria, and it was brown. I mean, just a shit brindle brown, a terrible color. She had a carload of screaming kids with her. She wasn't very happy. Well, I went back, and because of the speed, I did give her a citation. When I went back, she snatched the citation out of my hand before I could even start explaining to her about the court, things of that nature, and threw it in a ball on the floor. She started to put her car in gear, and I stepped back and I told her, "Ma'am, you need to turn your car off, put it in park, turn your car off, and I'm going to explain what's going on. If you try to move the car while I'm standing here, I'm going to arrest you for putting my life in danger. Do you understand?" She understood, so I explained the citation to her. Well, a few days later, my police chief got a call from this woman saying that we probably wanted to settle the ticket out of court and dismiss it because when her kids went into court and told them how rudely I was treated, how I called her the C word, the B word, and every other word in between, and how I cussed her out, and on and on and on, that we were going to better settle that ticket. Otherwise, she'd be forced to start a lawsuit against the department based on my actions. Well, the chief called me in and he made me aware of the complaint, and together he and I reviewed the videotape. At this time, the systems were a camera on your dashboard and it was recorded in a secure box on VCR tape. Well, we looked at the tape, and the only bad language issued was by the woman. My chief called her up and got her on the speakerphone while I was there. And he told her, "I have Officer Helwig in the office right now. We're ready to discuss your citation." So she said right out, she said, "Well, with everything he called me, when my kids go into court and they testify what that officer said, it's certainly going to look bad for your department." Well, my chief made her aware of the fact that we had a videotape of the entire confrontation and that the only profanities spoken during the course of the confrontation were spoken by her. Of course, once she learned there was videotape, she dropped the whole thing. So moving onward, now it's not only dashboard cameras, but it's body cameras. Now, the departments I work on right now don't have body cameras. I wish they did, because I think they're a definite benefit to the officer. It was a few years ago when Black Lives Matter and the hands up, don't shoot and all that BS started, that organization started demanding that officers wear body cams. Well, it's amazing, since officers have started wearing body cams, the instances of allegations of police brutality have dropped dramatically. The ones that I've seen a few of them in the paper, or not in the paper, but seen a few of them on Facebook or whatnot, that people making allegations of racial profiling or whatever have been totally refuted by the officer's body cam. To me, that's a good thing. And now it's really rather oxymoronic, because the same people that were demanding video cams and body cams for the officers are now saying that they don't like them because they can't make those false allegations. They can't make you look bad or sound bad because the camera doesn't lie. And we have to remember, as officers, the camera doesn't lie. If you screw up and do something wrong, if you are racist towards somebody, if you treat somebody in a brutal manner, it's all on video. I saw one the other day, a video that it made me sick as a police officer. It showed a man taunting an elderly gentleman to go ahead and slap him. Now, there were 3 or 4 officers standing around, and he's telling the guy, if it's going to make you feel better, slap me. Just go ahead, smack me, smack me. The old guy reaches out and barely hits this officer, and the officer just nails him, takes him to the ground, throws him in cuffs, arrests him, everything else. And I was thinking, man, what a shit blizzard this is. That guy does not deserve to be a cop. Hopefully, he's no longer a cop. Hopefully, he was prosecuted or is charged with something. You know, the guys that were sitting around watching him do it. You know, permitting is promoting. If you're standing around and you're watching somebody taunt somebody so that they slap you so you can kick their ass, I'm sorry, you're just as guilty as they are. You know, when I see a video like that, it makes my blood boil because it makes everybody in law enforcement look bad. Now, I know in some correctional institutions, they're having staff wear body cams in the secure segregation areas. Again, I think that's a great idea. You know, you hear about brutality in prisons, the whole works. Well, you don't hear about the inmates and what they're doing. You don't hear why there was a use of force made necessary. Body cams are going to show that. So whether you like them or whether you don't like them, dash cams and body cams are with us. They're with us in law enforcement on the street. They're with us in law enforcement and corrections. They're going to be there. They're going to show the bad. They're going to show the good. When you go out there and you have your camera on, be cognizant that that camera is recording everything you say. You know, I recall years ago when we first got our cameras in the car, I was involved in a high-speed chase. And I was going speeds up to over 120 miles an hour, and it was down rural roads. And of course, in a high-speed chase, you're driving very defensively. You're driving ahead of you, the whole works. And I could see the car up ahead of me, and I was gaining on him. And a farmer pulled out with a tractor and a hay wagon in front of me. And I remember I had my camera going, I had my mic going, and without thinking, I said, "Get your MF head out of your ass and move it over." Well, I called my chief afterwards when I realized what I'd said in the heat of the moment and explained it to him. And he said it was understandable. And luckily, once I caught the individual, he did not dispute it. But you know what? Had it gone to court and they showed that tape and they heard what I said, I would have been thoroughly humiliated. That was totally unprofessional. It was something that I was embarrassed about saying. That's why I fessed it up to my chief right away, so that if anything came of it, I didn't have to be accused of trying to cover it up. So we're all guilty of saying things we shouldn't do. We're all guilty of doing things we shouldn't do. You know, the camera shows the good, the camera shows the bad. Make sure that when you have that camera on, you're doing what's good. You're doing what's within policies and procedures. You're doing what's within the law. You're doing morally what you know is right. Until next time, this is Keith Helwig from Cops Corrections Videos. Stay safe and watch your back.